Hi, good morning. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. After speaking to a friend yesterday in a lengthy conversation regarding just one of those things that's on YouTube, I thought I'd do a video today just addressing some of the stories that we can easily be drawn into, and in a lot of the cases, when you allow yourself to be drawn into these theories that people have, you become then a believer that they are true, and that the people that are doing and bringing these stories to your attention are legit people, and we trust them. And it's a big danger just blindly trusting somebody and their theories. And we're going to get into a few of these theories and just try and address just some of the facts with regards to that. But before we do, I just want to say a big thank you to the few people that are supporting the observatory right now, and that have continued to support our work that we've done on the magnetic pole reversal. We now have an observatory with equipment worldwide, and we are continually trying to expand that observatory and those little stations that we've got around the world. So yeah, let's get into it. So the conversation that we was having yesterday was in particular to do with the subject regarding a theory of a planet, and not Planet X, not Nibiru, not Blue Star Katrina, and I'm going to get to the point with all these theories in a minute. But this one you may have seen on YouTube, which is a theory of Planet 7X, and you might know who I'm talking about. But the big issue I've got with this is that there is lots of ways we can address this. I mean, we could look at the statistics for how many telescopes have been sold in the last 10 years, and out of those amounts, and there would be probably hundreds of thousands, I'm talking about amateur astronomers. Even with some of these amateur telescopes, the results that these people get are absolutely outstanding. And the big point I want to get to here is, if there was a Blue Star Katrina, if there was a Planet X, if there was a Nibiru or anything like that that was coming close to our solar system, it would have been spotted not just by the large telescopes that we have run by organisations on this world. It would have also been spotted by a few of these amateur astronomers, and they would have brought it definitely to YouTube and other platforms like this for your attention. And they wouldn't have just talked about these things, they would have given the exact position of where these planets are at this moment, and and give you an opportunity to get your own telescope and find them for yourself and confirm these things. But we never do get the exact position for some reason of these. And this particular occasion, the person said, even if we was able to have a telescope that could view it, the point is here, is it's been cloaked by some technology so that they are blocking it from our visibility. We are never going to be able to prove or disprove this, are we? And that is perfect for the person that is peddling such fantasies about such planets coming into our solar system. I like to think of myself as a logic thinker, and I think that there is a very small amount of people on YouTube that actually use some logical analysis and come to the conclusion that some of these stories are just that. They are just stories. And this, funnily enough, was where we started becoming an observatory many years ago. I was, I wouldn't say a keen researcher in the Mayans and the Egyptians, but that has certainly been something that I've had a lot of interest in. And, I remember before coming up to 2012, 8 or so years ago, the hype that was building with the Mayan prophecy. But the truth of the matter is, we don't really know why there was the 2012 date to start with, because there was a bit of broken rock at the side of where the Mayans had put that date. And for all we know, it could have been, the start of a new calendar or something else. But the thing is that there was a lot of hype and hysteria, and I got caught up in that myself. And then after 2012, 2013 came, 2014, the hype and hysteria dissolved, just like the YK2, if you remember what everyone was worried about, computers don't know how to make, that extra digit on there, and therefore it can crash the systems and things like that. Even the governments around the world invested a lot of money making sure that that wasn't the case. So what I'm saying is that these things come and go, and when nothing apparently happened with the Mayan calendar, and I know a lot of people are going to start saying, well, the Gregorian calendar replaced another calendar, and there's a lot of discrepancy in the dates, and that this event that the Mayans were still talking about is still on. You can never wash that person's brain when they are so convinced that what they've been led to believe is true is actually not true. And I encourage you guys to use a little bit more of your logical thinking in addressing some of these stories. Okay, a good one would be the 5G at the moment. A lot of people think it's bad news, but for me, I've looked into it. I'm building an RF meter for somebody that was talking to me about this, and I'm going to send it him, and he can do whatever research he wants with that RF detector, and it's very sensitive. If I walk down my hallway, I've got a television on the back of the wall on the other side in my bedroom, and if that's switched on, the LED lights up, and according to how strong the RF signal is, the brighter the LED goes. I mean, I could put an LCD screen on there, and we could have a figure ranging from 1 to 1,000. But the point is this: there is a lot of hype, and because of what people have been doing, and I've seen some really hash jobs of informing people with regards to this. I mean, there was one in particular where he got this sensor off the top of a light, and all this sensor was just got a little radio transmitter in there, and that's just to allow the the street light company that runs the lights, probably something to do with the government, to notify them if that light is functioning properly or not. But he thought it was to do with 5G. He looked at some of the capacitors on the electronics in there, and he was saying that because there was a 10,000 volt capacitor in there, that that was enough to literally cook somebody and give them instantly cancer. And obviously no grounds, and a few of the people have pulled him up on it, but no expertise in electronics as to why, to explain why the real reasons for putting such high capacitance on circuit boards. But usually, if you are using, say, 12 volts, and you put a 100 volt capacitor in there, is to protect the 12 volt circuit. You're just overcompensating, and that is the way you build electronics. But I won't go into that too much detail. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there is so much hype. But there's a good thing that came out of all this, is that when the Mayan date passed, I was left a little bit confused, probably like a lot of people, and I wanted to know what was really going on with our world, because even in 2012 there was still a lot of talk about global warming, which now has been replaced by climate change. Very cleverly changing the words when you're not sure about what you're talking about, and that you could be wrong, or that we're actually cooling when we are supposed to be warming, and it's very confusing for governments to remain in power when what they're saying isn't clearly happening. So how did we get into pole shift here? Well, I'd done a bit of due diligence, bit of research, and I did discover one anomaly that was rare event that was actually taking place, and that is the magnetic reversal. And it was well known that it was happening, and we live in a time now where it is happening. So that's really where we came into then using the skills that I've got as a scientist, putting some of the electronic skills to good use, and teaching myself over these years, 8 or so years, programming and more about electronics and building these devices that we've got today. And today we are a small observatory with some high-tech equipment. I know some people think it's low-tech, but it's really half of the work that goes into it is the work within the programming, because you can do a lot more with the programming than what you can do with just simply the electronics. You can utilise the electronics in different ways, and that's exactly what we did with the Trimag system and the magnetosphere sensors and other magnetometers that we've got, and now these muon detectors that we're putting out. So, you know, the thing is here, guys, is that what I'm trying to say is we do have some anomaly that really is taking place, that has been proven, and it's not a story about something that could possibly happen, because I can point to where this is happening and I can show you how it has changed over a short period of time that we've been monitoring it. The poles, I can guarantee you, on this earth are still migrating, and that can be checked by other sources and confirmed. So what I'm trying to say to you is there is something really big happening in humanity. It's something that we know for fact is happening in humanity, and it can be verified. And that is something that you can't do with these other stories, and the reason for that is and it's quite convenient, isn't it, that you can't, because that allows that person to talk about the subject for a long period of time. Now, I could in this video show you a lot of things. I could show you the government have got it wrong about humans being responsible for CO2. I can prove it with facts. I could show you other things as well, lots of other things about anomalies that are not true, like global warming. Yeah, you know, at some point over the last few years, we've seen an increase in glacials and, you know, an expansion of Arctic ices. So what I'm trying to say is that we can, if we do a little bit of due diligence, we look into the actual facts, we can find a lot of truth, and we can verify those facts. But on these stories, you're never going to be able to verify them, because it is always going to lead us down a road where, when we say to that person, okay, give us the coordinates for this planet that is coming into our solar system so that it can be confirmed, they're never going to be able to give you that evidence. There's the simple thing you've got to ask them: show me where it is. How did you come to the conclusion of that this, what you're saying, is the truth? You know, if you ask questions like that, those people are never going to be able to answer them. And if you keep pushing them, they are going to come back with an answer eventually of the sorts to protect what they've done. And in a lot of cases, you know, this can be a very lucrative business for them. What they're going to eventually come up with is a brick wall for you. And that brick wall, in this case, what I was talking to a friend yesterday, was that this planet has a cloaking capability, similar to that if you watch Star Trek, of perhaps the Klingons. And of course, then how do you spot it, even if you know the location of it? You're never going to be able to. So there is a nice thing that came out of this. We've got an observatory that has equipment around the world. We're monitoring one of the rarest events humanity has for the first time ever experienced. And I say that simply because, according to, you know, other scientists in the field of humans, we have only been on this planet for just short of 200,000 years. But the last time the Earth went through a complete magnetic reversal was 780,000 years ago. So nearly over 500,000 years ago, this event happened. And I say something else here very regularly with regards to this anomaly, the pole shift, where our magnetic poles reverse on the Earth. And it is theoretical to assume that, you know, not only do the poles reverse because of the way that the poles are generated within the magneto of our Earth, and this is the standard model of understanding how our, you know, magnetic poles are created, that at that time of the reversal, the magnetosphere should start to decay and weaken. And we know from scientific studies that, you know, it is around about 20 to 25% weakened. So we only have 75% of the true protection that we have been accustomed to for thousands of years. and we don't know what the psychological effects that will have on human beings the further the magnetosphere declines. But what we do know is that as it declines, it allows more cosmic radiation in, because it doesn't just lead to an event where we get poles. It also leads to a protective shield that we have around our Earth from cosmic radiation, and as that starts to decay, what happens is the field weakens and more cosmic radiation comes in. It causes more cancers, it's carcinogenic, and we have recently found that it also affects the cardiac arrhythmias in human beings. So we can expect more cases of cancer, more cases of cardiac arrhythmic failures or alterations as a result of more cosmic radiation inbound. Another thing that we know will happen because of what we've been observing is the jet streams are being altered as a result of more cloud seeding. Then the jet streams have more water vapour in them, they become more sluggish, and I've never thought, although this is theory, I've never thought that the jet streams are horizontal to the actual poles on our planet. For just coincidental purposes, and also for that matter, I've never thought that the coldest regions of our planets are exactly where the other two anomalies are in these regions. That's the rotational axis and the colder climates. So we've got three anomalies in one region, and I think that they are connected through some earthly mechanics that we are trying to effort to prove that that is the case. But one thing we do know, that as a result of the poles reversing or going through that reversal, we are starting to see some severe weather changes on our planet, and it is affecting the jet streams. What is happening is the jet streams in their sine waves over the northern and southern, in the northern or the polar region, they are coming further south, and when they do that in the trough, we have very cold regions, and in the peak we have tropical weather going up there. And another thing that we've seen is the interchange between the polar and subtropical jet streams. A real malfunctioning of our planet's jet streams, and that directly affects us because we know it changes seasons. And we could go out there today, it would be 24 degrees as we've seen in the UK, and then tomorrow we could get -1, and we could get snow falling in the summertime, and we could also get in the winter times nice warm weather, and we've experienced that. We know that this is a fact. So there are a lot of things that are being affected as a result of this one anomaly, and I'll just put it to you guys: do you really need to have anything else to worry about other than the magnetic poles and the effects of the magnetic reversal right now? Do you really need to add in, the worry about 5G? Do you really need to add the worry of a planet that could be coming into our solar system that nobody can identify where it is? I think what we need to do is concentrate on what we are aware of, and there is no reason to throw anything else into that mix, because the pole reversal, trust me, is a serious enough anomaly to be the only anomaly to worry about. And we are getting very close now to actually seeing some big changes take place on our planet. Added to this, there is another anomaly that people talk about, and there's a lot of misconception about it. And I'm going to talk about the grand solar minimum just briefly. So, from my point of view, why I'm concerned about the grand solar minimum, and it is true for the last 33 years, we've seen an exponential decay of sunspot activity, and we know when that happens, the heliosphere, which is the sun's magnetosphere, if you want to look at it like that, it pushes out well beyond our solar system all the cosmic rays or a lot of the cosmic rays that are inbound. So if we have a weakened solar cycle, we have a lot more cosmic radiation inbound into our solar system, and if we have a magnetic pole reversal taking place, then we have a compiling problem where they both spell the same things for us on this planet: more cosmic radiation, more disturbance to the seasons, more disturbance to the jet streams, and more carcinogenic activity, posing more risks for us, and more cardiac arrhythmsis to not just ourselves. I'm not just talking about the risks with cosmic radiation to ourselves, but to every biodiversity across all ranges on the planet. You know, when you lose your magnetosphere, you end up simply looking like Mars, with no water either in your atmosphere or on its surface after a prolonged period of time. The sun itself will strip away the upper atmosphere over a period of time, and if the sun is at an all-time low, then we have a lot more galactic cosmic radiations and universal cosmic radiation inbound as a result of that. So we've got a lot of problems that we're going to be facing, and we're going to be facing it for the very first time. And we try our best here to document this as much as possible. That's why we record, and some people say, well, it's a bit like watching paint dry, that is, Gene. Do you really need a resolution of every 3 seconds? But we have a record going back now nearly 2.5 years with the TriMag of every 3 seconds, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for the last 2.5 or more so years. And that will be probably so valuable after this pole reversal for science, and we will have made that contribution here to science. At the end of that, we've got a great data log of information that we can go back and examine every in detail, every little bit of the change when it occurs, and the aftermath of the change. And you know what, guys, you should all be proud of yourselves that have supported us at this observatory, because that has only been allowed to be happening through the funding that we have received to date. So kudos to all you that have supported the efforts that we've done. You're on the right track. This is a real anomaly. It really has massive impacts for humanity, and we are probably one of the only observatories recording that change as it happens right now at the resolution that we are recording it. And of course, we're also one of those few observatories with now muon detectors going out into the field, so that we can analyse one of the biggest risks that we face with this anomaly, and that is the cosmic rays. Because if we're getting more muons here on the surface of the Earth, then there is more interactions with cosmic rays and particles in our upper atmosphere, creating those muons in turn. So if the numbers of muons increase, we know the radiation levels of cosmic rays at least are on the increase. So you should be happy that you have to this day supported a worthy cause. And here is that opportunity where I'll just mention it once, guys. There's a link down there. Obviously, I'll say this, since this COVID outbreak has came about, we have seen a dramatic drop in the funding that we get. And of course, that slows our efforts down greatly here. So, if you want to become a supporter of a good cause that is, an anomaly that is, for humans, has only ever been around one time for us to examine and live with it and see what comes out of this, then you have an opportunity to support it. And the links are down there in the description. I just hope that I encourage more people to do it and stand with us a little bit stronger through this period of time where COVID does affect the money that we raise here to do our business here at the observatory. And the only other thing I think to say about that is, guys, we put a lot of effort in. We do have some great support from certain individuals that regularly support this observatory to keep it going, keep the work going that we do here. And I can only thank those guys more than enough, and just say, I'm glad you share the same enthusiasm, and you will get the credit for that as well. Okay, so what have we got happening this week? Hopefully we're going to hear whether or not we have a location in Brazil for one of our muon detectors, and at the end of this week we're also going to get another muon detector out to Perth, to Jeff down there in Australia, and then we can collect some important data that we've been trying to and anxiously hoping to get for a long time, and that is what's going on with the weakest region of magnetic intensity on our planet, the South Atlantic anomaly, and also the strongest, which is now creeping up towards Perth. So with that, guys, I'll say just have a great day. Links are down there if you want to support, and as always, bye for now.